the NFL schedule came out, and I'm curious. I got to ask people, please send me messages or comment on YouTube. What game or what couple games are you looking forward to next year? I'm really curious. Please feel free to send me feedback. For me, the number one game that I cannot wait to watch next year, I am so excited. Week 4, Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers go to Foxborough to play the Patriots, Tom Brady's old team. And that's going to be, oh my gosh, storylines are, there's an endless amount of really, really compelling storylines there. Tom Brady versus Bill Belichick. Will Tom Brady get booed or will they cheer? I would imagine that people in Boston and the Massachusetts area, New England, I would imagine they're going to cheer Tom Brady when he returns. He gave so much for their organization, but I don't know. What if the Patriots win? What if somehow Bill Belichick and the Patriots beat Tom Brady? It's so much. That's the game that I have scheduled where I'm I cannot wait to watch that. It's going to be so much fun. And if there's a game that's not that one that you feel that way about, please let me know. I'm really, really curious what other games, because undoubtedly there's a bunch of games I'm going to list, but for sure, there are also games I'm going to miss and that I left out that are meaningful to you that I maybe overlooked. So please let me know. Now, as far as the rest of the schedule, I want to share my notes. There's some more fun games. I do have some concerns and some questions. I realized that I was going through the schedule. I'm man, how good is Dallas? How good is Pittsburgh with Big Ben? What about Detroit? Are the Lions going to be good? Is Jared Goff the guy or not? I don't know. The Packers are hard to get a read on. Are the Packers going to have Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback next year or not? That's a huge swing. With Aaron Rodgers or without Aaron Rodgers is a massive difference. Are the Broncos going to have Aaron Rodgers? That would massively change the way. People are making predictions. I'm whoa, we're the offseason is still not over. Let's see what really happens before we make predictions for next year. It's way too early, in my opinion, to make predictions on the NFL season. Guys are going to get hurt. People are going to get moved. Come on. It's too early for that. But people can do whatever they want. I am hoping to see the Carolina Panthers grow with Sam Darnold. I think if I was a fan of any team right now in the NFL, it must be Carolina. I love their owner. I love their coach. I love their offensive coordinator. I love their quarterback. I love what they got going on there. I love their long snapper, Thomas Fletcher. And they got some solid young players. I'm really, really curious. Can Carolina continue to grow and build what they're doing? I want to see if the Cardinals can take a big step forward. I think if any coach is on the hot seat, it's Cliff Kingsbury in Arizona. They have to win this year. Or else, man, they got a problem there in Arizona. Are the Raiders going to grow and improve? It's year 4 with John Gruden. And pressure's on in Vegas. You can't really fire John Gruden. He's got a 10-year contract, but maybe the GM. They fired the defensive coordinator last year in December, so that's they already did that one. So who is left to blame? I think he's got to continue to grow as a franchise, and there's pressure a lot in Las Vegas. Kansas City, I look at their schedule and I go, man, this team feels like a juggernaut. They might be back in the Super Bowl again. And here are some more games I'm looking forward to. Week 1, by the way. Oh my goodness. Week 1 of the NFL season is amazing. So we have the Jets at the Panthers. That's the first game. I'm oh man, that's going to be really, really fun to watch. Sam Darnold against his old team. By the way, the team that traded him away for nothing. They didn't want him. And how interesting. Here's a hypothetical possibility. What if the Jets had kept Sam Darnold and drafted Kyle Pitts or, Jamar Chase, something like that, or Penei Sewell? They wanted to get a whole new quarterback and restart rather than work with Sam Darnold. How's that for rejection? So it's Sam Darnold, a chance to play his old team and show them what they're missing out on. It's also our first opportunity as football fans to watch Zach Wilson, the Jets' number 2 overall pick, the quarterback the Jets replaced Sam with. It's endless how many good things and compelling storylines there are in this game as well. I talked about the Patriots, Tom Brady going back to New England. How about Sam Darnold hosting the Jets? That's cool, and I'd be so happy for Carolina if they beat the Jets week 1. Now, another week 1 game. You have the Jaguars at Texans. I got to say, this is a really, really good start for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Got a new coach, got a new quarterback. We would think week 1. Maybe Gardner Minshew starts. I don't know. I would imagine, though, Trevor Lawrence is the guy week 1. And for them to get to play the worst team in the NFL, the Houston Texans, week 1, and have a great start to their entire journey, new coach, new quarterback, new season. What a wonderful gift the NFL gave the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, we also, week 1, have the Seattle Seahawks at the Indianapolis Colts. It's an interesting matchup. And I really can't wait to watch the Colts' new quarterback, Carson Wentz, playing for Indianapolis. The Colts have a better roster. I would imagine that they win. You would think they're the favorite here, but then remember, Seattle has Russell Wilson, who does seem to balance everything out anytime he plays a game for Seattle. So it's interesting, man. I want to watch Carson Wentz with his new team and back reunited with Frank Reich. Colts and Seahawks week 1, that should be awesome. Another week 1 game, we have the Bears at the Rams. And maybe, are we going to see Justin Fields, their first-round quarterback draft pick at all? I don't know. Whether he's the starter or if it's Andy Dalton, how's that going to go? Or maybe even if Andy Dalton is the starter, does Justin Fields have a couple plays they made specifically for him to take advantage of his skill set? I don't know. Plus, I also cannot wait to watch Matthew Stafford, the Rams' new quarterback, who, I got really, really high expectations for the LA Rams this year. New quarterback, awesome coach, great defense. I expect a lot from the Rams in 2021. I got to say, by the way, there are two, as I look at the schedule, there are two opportunities I feel like the NFL, usually they give a team, if you trade away a quarterback, usually, or your quarterback leaves, they usually give you 1 year before you play that old team. Like, Tom Brady didn't play the Patriots last year. That's not a mistake. They wait usually 2 years, 2 years out, then you play your old team. Like, Sam Darnold playing Zach Wilson is a rarity. You usually don't have your, a quarterback play their old team immediately. But I'm really disappointed that the Colts do not play Philly. I would have loved to see Carson Wentz with his new team play against Philadelphia, who Philadelphia's coach. Oh my goodness. I can't be alone. Every time Nick Sirianni opens his mouth, I'm like, that dude's an idiot. Like that dude does not know what he's doing. It's crazy to me. Like he was talking today on some video about how he does rock, paper, scissors with potential draft, what do you call what potential people they might draft to see if they're competitive. It's like, what are you talking about? It's nonsense to me. And I feel bad because I love Jalen Hurts, but if Jalen Hurts fails, it's probably because he's got an idiot coach rather than Jalen's just terrible. And then also the other missed opportunity is I wish the Lions played the Rams. They traded quarterbacks. The Lions quarterback went to the Rams. They got Matthew Stafford. And the Lions got the Rams' old quarterback, Jared Goff. So I want to see Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford play against their old team. I would imagine the Rams would win that game, but it's just interesting. I don't know. And I would love to see that. I also got questions, is Jared Goff even the long-term plan in Detroit? I think there's a game later this year where we'll find out pretty quickly. Like, for example, week 1, the 49ers play at the Lions. It's going to be a huge, huge, interesting game there because I think the 49ers win. But I have such a fascination with Detroit this year where they've got a new head coach who I can't get a read on. I love their offensive coordinator, Anthony Lynn. They've got some decent new players there. But is Jared Goff the Lions quarterback long-term or not? That's what they're trying to figure out this year. It's kind of the audition. This year is Jared Goff's year to prove himself, to prove that he deserves to be the guy long-term in Detroit. Because if he's not, they can just, draft his replacement, no problem. And I'm so curious what happens with Jared Goff in Detroit this year. Now, I got to say, the 49ers schedule, they've got a chef's kiss, like a present. Santa Claus came early for the 49ers. Here is some of their schedule. I see a lot of wins when I look at the 49ers schedule. They could win maybe 11, 12, even if they're playing like amazing, they could win 13 games next year. The 49ers start with the Lions week 1. Then they play Philly. Then the Packers, who maybe will not have Aaron Rodgers. Then they play Seattle twice. The Cardinals, the Jaguars, the Vikings, the Bengals, the Falcons, the Tennessee Titans, the Houston Texans, who are awful, and the Rams. And I go, man, Lions is probably a win. Eagles, Seattle at least once. Cardinals, Vikings, Jaguars, Bengals, Falcons, Titans, Texans. Like, Oh my goodness, that's a lot of winnable games when you look at the 49ers schedule. And I know that the 49ers just drafted the quarterback of the future for them, Trey Lance, but it's very possible that we might be like week 10 where people are going, why did the 49ers draft a new quarterback? Like Jimmy Garoppolo might look really good playing a cupcake schedule this year in the NFL. There's never really a cupcake schedule. It's not like college football, but oh my goodness, if Jimmy G stays healthy, the 49ers have an opportunity to win a lot of games next year in 2021. Now, week 2, we got the Bills at the Dolphins. This could be a bloodbath. It's it's really good Miami defense against Josh Allen. And then Tua with, Jalen Waddle, some good receivers there in Miami. And it's going to be an intense, fun division rivalry game between the Bills and the Dolphins. And week 2, man, it's going to be fun. Another game in week 2 is Kansas City at Baltimore. That's Lamar Jackson against Patrick Mahomes. KC probably wins this game, but it'll be fun. And the Ravens now have 2 stud receivers. They have, Marquise Hollywood Brown, but they also have a new first-round pick, Rashad Bateman from Minnesota. So I want to see, will the Ravens offense develop and start throwing the ball a little bit better with more success than they did last year? I think, part of helping your young quarterback, Lamar Jackson, develop is getting him another weapon, another receiver. So I am really excited. I think Kansas City probably wins this game week 2. But Baltimore's got an opportunity here to, challenge Kansas City and show what they can do, and I'm all for it. Now, week 5 is fun. Another Bills game. You have the Bills at Kansas City. Josh Allen against Patrick Mahomes. That'll be really fun. Plus, in week 5, you also have the Colts at the Ravens. Remember, the Colts left Baltimore in 1984. So there's some drama there already. Baltimore, they hate the Colts, that kind of stuff. But plus, the Colts defense is really, really good. And the Colts defense against Lamar Jackson, oh my goodness, that'll be really fun. And again, how good is Carson Wentz going to be in a Colts uniform? With his new coach, the guy who used to coach, Frank Reich used to coach Carson in Philadelphia. That's when Carson was really, really good. By week 5, we're going to know a lot more than we know now about how things are going with Carson Wentz and Indianapolis. I'm so excited for that to unfold. That'll be really, really cool. Week 6, you have the Chargers at the Ravens. That's Lamar versus Justin Herbert, 2 incredibly gifted quarterbacks. That'll be really fun. You also, week 6, have the Cardinals at the Browns. I've talked about how Cliff Kingsbury, the Cardinals head coach, Cliff Kingsbury, is probably on the hot seat this year. He has to have a good year and do well. And playing at Cleveland week 6, that's a big test for Arizona where, again, Arizona needs to have a breakout year. And we're going to learn a lot about Arizona in this game on the road, week 6 at Cleveland. Plus, we also have Kyler Murray versus Baker Mayfield. They are both former Oklahoma quarterbacks who transferred into Oklahoma, won the Heisman Trophy, went number 1 overall in the NFL draft. They're friends. It should be cool. Kyler versus Baker week 6. That'll be really, really fun. Week 12, we have the Jets at Houston. Excuse me, I went ahead of myself. Week 8, the Bengals at the Jets. Joe Burrow against Zach Wilson. Really what I'm curious, the Bengals, I think I don't know. It's hard to get a read. I don't know a lot about the Jets right now. I need to learn how good they're going to be week 1 and kind of get a read on them. But the Jets head coach, Robert Saleh, is a defensive-minded head coach. Really, really good design. I am curious how he plans to slow down Joe Burrow and Cincinnati. They have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase on either side at receiver. Not the best offensive line, but I would imagine that they're going to get the ball very quickly out of Joe Burrow's hands. I'm really curious for this matchup. Bengals at Jets week 8. That'll be really fun. Week 9, another Browns game. You have the Browns at the Bengals. They also play week 18, but remember last year, the battle for Ohio, when Joe Burrow was healthy. Oh my goodness, it was so much fun. Joe Burrow against Baker. I cannot wait for round 2. That's going to happen week 9. Week 12, you have the Jets at Houston. I expect Zach Wilson to do really, really well. By week 12, you got a lot of things figured out. Week 13, Thursday night football. Dallas at New Orleans. Remember, the Saints head coach, Sean Payton, hates Dallas. They didn't hire him as their head coach. He's never forgotten that. That'll be really, really fun. Also, who's the Saints quarterback going to be? We won't know. Week 13 is going to be fun. Saints, Dallas, that'll be exciting. Also, Week 13 on Monday Night Football, you have the Patriots at the Bills. I would imagine Mac Jones is not going to be playing by this point. He could be. We'll find out. But Patriots at Bills should be awesome. There's going to be later in the year some playoff implications. Some stakes are going to be real Week 13. A division rivalry. Patriots at Bills should be really, really fun. I think the Bills are having a full stadium this year, full of vaccinated people. That'd be really, really cool. And then the last game I'm really looking forward to. There's of course there are more, but the last one in my notes that I thought was worth pointing out is that in Week 16, the Jaguars go to New York and play the Jets. Trevor Lawrence against Zach Wilson, the number 1 overall pick against the number 2 overall pick. Near the end of the year, so as the year goes on, teams get better and better, and quarterbacks grow, and teams come together, and a lot of things are going to be ironed out by Week 16 for the Jaguars and the Jets. Could be a really fun game. I think, man, Trevor Lawrence versus Zach Wilson, oh my goodness, is going to be fun. And I already know Week 16, assuming they're both healthy, is going to be a really, really fun game. Now, another kind of note I have about the NFL schedule, the NFC East feels like it's totally up for grabs. The Cowboys have Dak Prescott back. He's healthy. Washington got a new quarterback, Ryan Fitzpatrick. The Giants got better. They added 2 new receivers. The Eagles hired a new head coach who seems like an idiot, but he might work. I love their quarterback, Jalen Hurts. They also drafted a receiver, Devontae Smith. I cannot wait. By the way, I want to make this prediction now. It's really, really, really likely we're going to look back at the Eagles hiring Nick Sirianni and go, why did they not hire Eric Bieniemy? Eric Bieniemy, the Kansas City offensive coordinator, was sitting there waiting to be a new head coach. Gives great answers, is incredibly well-spoken. He's like the opposite of Nick Sirianni. And if Nick Sirianni fails in Philly, which right now I'm definitely leaning towards, he's not going to work. We're going to go, why in the world did they not hire Eric Bieniemy? How are you going to tell me Nick Sirianni, this mumbling, bumbling kind of idiot when he talks and opens his mouth, you're telling me that dude had a better interview than Eric Bieniemy? You're lying. It's not true. I cannot believe they didn't hire Eric Bieniemy. And the more as I'm talking and thinking about it, it's very possible and very likely we're going to be very critical in December and January of the Eagles for hiring the wrong head coach. Now, I worry about Washington. Washington, the first 9 games for them are brutal. They play the Chargers, they play the Giants, the Bills, the Falcons, the Saints, Kansas City, the Packers, the Broncos, and Tampa. Washington could start, I think a good start for Washington would be 4-5, which is not good. Maybe they go 3-6 to start in the first 9 games. I am not feeling good about Washington. Their schedule is really difficult. Miami's schedule is also brutal. The Dolphins I fear the Dolphins could start 3-7 or 4-6 after the first 10 games. Miami's got a really bad start. They play at the Patriots. They play the Bills. They play at Las Vegas against the Raiders. The Colts, Carson Wentz, that good defense. They play at the Buccaneers, who are Tom Brady and that gang of really good football players. They have the Jaguars, the Falcons, the Bills, the Texans, and the Ravens, man. Patriots, Bills, Raiders will probably be better. The Colts, the Buccaneers, the Falcons have some weapons. The Bills are really good. The Ravens, I don't see a lot of winnable games early for Miami unless Miami's really good. If Miami, I guess the question is, can Miami, Tua, their defense, Jalen Waddle, can they beat really, really good teams? I cannot wait to find out. Should be very, very interesting. And the final thing I want to say, the pressure's on in Vegas. John Gruden is probably not going to get blamed because it's year 4 and he's got a 10-year contract, but the Raiders have a really rough start. They play the Ravens, they play at the Steelers, they play the Dolphins, the Chargers, the Bears, at Denver, and then Philly. And the Raiders have to have a good start. Year 4, John Gruden, a team that needs to make progress and take a step forward. And I fear the Raiders have a really hard schedule to start their year in 2021. We'll find out. But it's a couple teams, Miami, Washington, and the Raiders. I went, oof. They got a brutal start. Washington in particular, Washington and Miami. They better be good, because if they're not, they're going to start 3-6, 4-6, really bad starts, and I worry about Washington and Miami. And I guess, guys, those are all my notes. That's after looking at the 2021 NFL schedule. That's everything I have to say. That is all my notes. I've exhausted everything. And I had a good time looking through the schedule. Again, I want to repeat this last thing. Please let me know, what games are you looking forward to? Are there games I missed? Let me know. Write in, message me on Instagram or Patreon, whatever. Those are my notes from looking at the 2021 NFL schedule.